What up, guys? I'm gonna be doing real quick Spider-Man Homecoming video. Honestly, I don't even have to sell you on this movie. I feel like everyone's gonna go regardless. Um, and then I'm gonna start off with spoilers, just so you know. If you guys haven't seen it, go stop what you're doing right now and go see it. Um, the only thing I'd say about this movie that it doesn't feel special, which it does, but it's just we've have had what five other Spider-Man movies in the last I'd say 10 years or so, and then we've had at least we've had so many superhero movies that this one just doesn't feel special, but it is. It's probably it ranks up with maybe Spider-Man 2 or it's even better. I mean, maybe time will tell, but it's just like that they got the character of Peter Parker down so good. And Tom Holland does a great job of of just being a kid who's now giving all these powers and I guess responsibilities. I mean, I hate when they use that phrase all the time in the Spider-Man movies, but not in this one. They didn't use all the old tropes. They didn't lean on like the Spider Sense. They didn't lean on Uncle Ben. They didn't lean on the origin story. Even though this is if we'd have to categorize this movie, it's Spider-Man Year One. This is Spider-Man who he still doesn't know all his abilities, or at least using them right. He still doesn't know how to be a crime fighter. He still doesn't really even know how to use the suit Tony gave him. Um, he still doesn't know. But he's eager to learn. He's eager to help, and he's eager to impress people. Um, when I heard they were gonna do a like an '80s teen movie. I thought, oh, like, well, that's interesting, like a high school movie, a John Hughes type movie, and it very much feels like that because it's like at its core, it's about a kid struggling to keep his like school life, his personal life, and his crime fighting life all in order, and to please everyone and to do the right thing and do the right by everyone. Um, but he can't, and in him trying to figure it out. Um, and the point where oh shit, sorry for the moving of the camera. At the point where we find the story is that Peter has come back, and he's kind of been, I wouldn't say enamored, but he wants to be an Avenger. Um, but he also, and he, everything he used to love, band and chess club and stuff, he's kind of putting that behind because he's wants to be part of this new club. And instead of, which is the Avengers, and instead of trying to impress, and be liked by the coolest kid in school, he wants to be impressed and liked by probably the coolest person on the planet, which is Tony Stark. Um, so that's what we're dealing with. It's that he's trying to you know become a full-time Avenger, or at least be seen as an equal. And it's like so funny because like the way they kind of hand him off to Happy Hogan, and the way you know, he's going about his day to day business, texting Happy. It just dealt with a lot of comedy. I like the comedy, the action, like some of the shots of Spider Man. Like some of the action shots in the Amazing Spider Man with the Andrew Garfield one were really cool. Like especially like Sam Raimi early 2000 stuff. They just couldn't do as much shit as they could do when the Amazing Spider Man. But some of the stuff they did in this movie, like some of the shots they choose and like where the camera angle is when he's swinging through the city, and a lot of times this one, I mean, we still didn't get him in like real New York. You know what I mean? Like he stopped a little, but this one kind of takes place like one of the big action set pieces takes place in let's say Washington. The other big set piece takes place in like a rural area, like in uh like another neighborhood that's not like in the middle of the city. And then I feel like the last ones are kind of in the sky and like in a pier, but we still don't have him like swinging in the middle of the buildings, crashing into that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the ferry. Um, but we still don't have that like Spider-Man in the middle of the, the Bronx or or Queens just swinging through it, and we don't have that, and that's not a knock on it. It's just that's why this one felt so different, like because they kind of moved away from that and made it their own. It was influenced by a bunch of comics, and you could tell that. The Stanley cameo was awesome. The suit's awesome. The his AI, once he that moment where he's kind of training and he's getting to know the AI, the voice in his head, and he kind of gives it a name, and like they have like a back and forth and they have a relationship. That's really cool. I mean, from the like, and the cool thing about this one is that the trailers didn't really give you much. Like, Vulture was kind of like a menacing villain, and he really is. There's this time where Michael Keaton and Tom Holland are sitting in a car, and like, it's like that '80s movies, like the dad about to take you to the dance scene, and there's some like pressure there, but like it's built on this tension because they Peter knows that that's the Vulture, and the Vulture's kind of he's trying to figure it out. And then when he figures it out and he gives him that speech and he pulls out a gun and he's just like he's giving him a choice. It's so good. The tension's built so like it's really good. Um, and then that Peter he has an out. He could step away. He could just not, he could enjoy like he's been wanting this girl for so long. He finally asks her to the dance and she says yes, you know, and that's what he's wanted. But Spider-Man, like who he is in his heart, he wants to do the right thing. So he so he gives that up so he can go and do the right thing and fight the Vulture and take him down. And that's who Spider-Man really is. Um, you know, and then have him in high school and then like all the characters actually look the age they're supposed to. Um, is dope. Giving him a best friend that like knows his secret is also cool because you know, like it's like he has someone like he doesn't get that like depression that Spider-Man 3 get like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man because he's not going through it alone. I mean, yeah, he's out there fighting by himself, but he has Iron Man in a sense. Um but like he's not even just like the secret's not his own now because like someone else knows it. And I mean, he has to kind of worried about them, telling people, but it's not like his own little burden. Um, I don't know. I don't, like, there's no way to sell you this movie besides it's like it's amazing. It's really well done, and in a year where we had Guardians 2, Logan, we're gonna get Thor Ragnarok. It just feels like there's so many good comic book movies that like this one might be like, oh, it's just good. But I think it's great. I think it's probably the best Spider-Man there's like ever been. At least Tom Holland is one of the better, or if not the best Spider-Man. You still kind of feel like, well, they kind of set up some stuff where we have two shockers. One of them gets killed instantly. Um, Donald Glover's character kind of hints at that he has a nephew, close by. So we think Miles Morales maybe in the future. What else? Um, Scorpion is set up in the mid uh, tr- mid post credit scene. So maybe they're setting up a Sinister Six movie, but the Vulture not revealing who and now the Vulture also knows who Peter is, and then they kind of hint that his aunt knows who he is. So I mean, I don't know how they're gonna play that off, and how like so many people know his secret. I mean, the second one we're gonna have at least Homecoming 2. He's a junior, you know. His aunt knows who he is. There's all these like there's another villain that knows his actual identity. His friend knows his identity. his crush moved away, and like I guess he's gonna have to be dealing with maybe his aunt not wanting him to be a crime fighter and him still trying to do the good thing and still going for it and having, I don't know. So they're already building tension there. The suit's really cool. Like that's like new that we've never seen before because I mean usually they just shoot like most Spider-Mans have only shot web. This one has like a web that can shock you. He has like bombs. He has drones. He has like yes, like spider bombs, not actual bombs. He has drones. He has trackers. He has all this technology. Even when he got wet, like Tony was like, "Hey, you could just dry off." He was like, "What?" His suit could do so much things, and then like when they were gonna give him this new suit at the end of the movie, it looked just like the Iron Spider suit. So I was kind of excited, like, oh shit, he's gonna get the Iron Spider suit right before Infinity War, which he still probably is gonna wear, but he didn't accept it. Um, man, I'm rambling because I just love this movie so much. I'll probably watch it a few more times while it's in the movie theater. Um, dude, the comedy's so good. Like the comedy, it's like really actually funny, you know. And it really holds up to like what if their standard was a John Hughes movie. Um, I don't know if this has like that cult staying power that maybe a John Hughes movie would have, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there, and it's one of the better movies, of this year, maybe this decade. Just because it's like it deals with real life shit. Um, oh man, I'm not even getting into all of it because Vulture's a great villain. He's like this blue collared guy who he's like a construction worker. He has his crew. Those are the people he cares about. That they get fed because they have families. He has a family he cares about. And the work is pretty much unceremoniously taken from them, and now he's kind of left out in the cold with like, well, what do we do now as far as work, and what does his crew do now? And you know, a man is dangerous when he's put on, when put in a corner and not given, you know, and not giving a way out. So he does what he feels like he needs to do. But he comes from like a blue collar background. Like he's like some construction worker who's like, well, fuck it. If everyone's just gonna do, you know what I mean? Like if everyone's just gonna do whatever they want, why not us? I mean, Tony fucking creates all this destruction around him, and he still lives like a billionaire. And this guy, he's like, we're over here fighting for their scraps. He's like, he tells Spider-Man at one point, like, guys like you and me, we're just like we're the bottom of the barrel. Like these people get to go back to their Avengers towers to become being a billionaire. Or, you see Tony in India, like they get to still be billionaires. You got to go back and live in like a one room apartment in Queens. You know what I mean? Like you still have to shop at the deli, or him, like he's like, I still got to go back and trying to provide for my family. Um, this isn't like, it's still like a fight between, you know what I mean? Like even though it's a fight between like superheroes, like the way they see it is like it's like these billionaires versus the little man, and he feels like, well, as the little man, he's gonna do anything to have that advantage and be able to provide for his family. And like, that's applied. You could understand. I mean, maybe once he starts killing people and shit, and he starts kind of getting lost, his sight lost in why he did it, for why he started, especially when he starts selling weapons to criminals who can they're not using them responsibly and stuff. That's where it gets a little complicated. But not that like, oh, he did the right thing, but but he's probably one of the better Marvel villains since Loki. I mean, everyone else was kind of forgettable. They didn't kill him at the end. He lives, and who knows what they're building to. But Michael Keaton was so good. He always is though. So I don't know. He really gives some like really good performance, and like like in a role where he could have phoned it in, or he like there's scenes in there that are like holy shit. Um, but yeah, again, I don't need to sell you on it. These are just my ramblings. You know, I saw this movie, I say a night ago or 2 nights ago, and I needed to sit down and think because I didn't want to ramble, and I yet rambled. But guys, this weekend, if you're not doing anything, if you're doing anything, drop what you're doing. Go watch Spider-Man. The little homie right here. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, leave a comment. That's my Spider-Man review, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, check out our Patreon and leave a like, leave a comment.